All right, so on this episode of Let's Try to Improve Some Stuff. All right, so I kind of have my car tore apart. Yeah, we're gonna try to mount our second trans cooler again. So if you guys remember on a video previous to this, I used to have this sucker mounted right here, okay? And it was right up against, I used those zip ties, and it was right up against the radiator. And if you guys watched that video, you guys found out that my car was having a little bit of trouble keeping cool because of how hot that was getting. And what was happening was, it was just the radiator was fighting. The transmission stayed somewhat cool, but the radiator was really fighting hard. Well, now we have a 14 volt battery. My big fan obviously runs a lot more CFM. And I was doing some research, and I talked to Ryan Scott, a buddy of mine, Pure Function, also his YouTube channel. Really smart guy, and he said I should mount it away from the radiator, like not up against it. There should be a space. So we're gonna try to make some brackets and see if we can find some room to mount this thing between the radiator and the intercooler. So clearly can't be in front of the intercooler, so it's gonna be behind the intercooler, but in front of the radiator. All right, this is my idea. So we already got her mounted. It's really far away from the fan, but it is out in front. So hopefully that's enough space. Obviously, when I turn the fans on, I don't know how much it'll really help draw that, but this is really more for when you're cruising. So hopefully, it gets some ram air through the bumper, through the intercooler, and into the cooler. So we will see if this works better. All right, we got our intercooler back on, and there's our cooler. As you can see, not a whole lot of room. It looks like in the video that it's touching, but it's not. There's some room there, and it's pretty solid. And I turned the fan on to see how it's drawing, and it is getting there. It's drawing some, so it will create a little bit, but honestly, that's going to be more for going down the highway, and hopefully the ram air will get some good airflow to that cooler behind the intercooler. And then of course I'll still run my little trunk fan deal, but this is just an attempt to see if we can keep things a little cooler when we cruise. That way I can cruise more down the highway and not really worry about transmission getting too warm. Because going to Cars and Coffees and trying to go to meets or hang out, I'd like to be able to cruise down the highway and not really worry about the transmission. So doing this cooler, since we already have it, they do make some better coolers that I thought about maybe doing, but we're gonna just try this one and see if it makes a difference. All right, all of our lines are ran, as you can see. They go underneath the car all the way back, and pretty much all I did was do like a loop off of the outlet. So then it comes out to this cooler first, then wraps back around, and I just joined it with a union, goes back to my fan, my rear cooler, and then back to the transmission. So we're gonna start it up, check for leaks. All right, we just started it up, and it's pretty wild how fast this sucker gets warm. It gets warm really quick. And we have no leaks, checked everywhere, no leaks at all. I turned the fan on just to see if it would start like drawing some heat back, and it definitely did. So what I'll probably do is when I'm cruising, I'll probably have my fan on all the time just to try to keep that trans as cool as I can. But yeah, it looks like it's working. So I'm not really gonna know until real life test. I'm gonna have to go down, cruise 70 mile an hour and just see what the temps get. And I'm really excited to try it out. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance this weekend. It's supposed to rain like all weekend, and I'm about ready to pack this up. I still got a lot to do, put the thing back together, but it's getting late. Wife wants to go eat some dinner, so I'm gonna go clean up, eat some dinner. We're gonna come back out here tomorrow. We'll button the car back up, and then if we get a break in the rain, we'll go out and see how she does. All right, so next morning, we're gonna go ahead and button this girl up. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead, I actually have, I don't know if I've shown this previous video or not, but I went out and got a thermocouple transmission or any type of fluid temp sensor. And I had to get this adapter because that's what's in the trans pan. And I'm going to switch to that versus what's in there right now is just a GM like water temp sensor. And it reads kind of slow, but it also is going to free up a input because EGTs, I have 1 through 8 EGTs and I can use any of those for temp sensors. So I'm going to actually convert my trans temp to a thermocouple and then run that in my EGT for trans temp, and then I will have a spare digital input for whatever I want in the future. So we're gonna knock that out. I'm hoping I can jack the car up and get all that in and out without losing a bunch of fluid, but we'll see. I probably have to add fluid anyway because the cooler is gonna take up some capacity. All right, so we're gonna have to make an extension, and I bought K-type plugs and some wire. And essentially what I want to do, since you know K-types, you just can't plug in and out right at the sensor. They have like a pigtail of thermocouple wire. So my idea is to run an extension from my ECU down past my shifter, and I'm gonna have the connection right there down near the transmission. That way, whenever I drop the transmission or want to separate it, I can easily just detach the K-type connector underneath the transmission. Otherwise, I'd have to disconnect the ECU and pull the wire all the way out to drop the transmission. That is the only downfall about these K-types, but they're really, really fast acting. Temperature changes are like within, you know, milliseconds, and I'm gonna have a digital output left. So I think it's definitely worth it. Pretty much had to drain my transmission fluid, so we have to fill that up. But we're gonna go ahead and make this extension, and then we'll plug in and see what type of length and see where this K-type connection can stay. All right, so here you can see my new trans temp sensor. Got the adapters and stuff. But as you can see, we have a lot of extra line. So we're gonna do, and right there you can see the adapter. So we're gonna basically loop this up and zippy tie it under here. That way it's just easier to disconnect. Well, I just got off the highway. I even did a trans brake, got on the highway. It got to about 185. It just kind of sat there. So I think it definitely helps. And my coolant temperatures are staying fine. My fan's not even on right now. But when my fan comes on, it drops my coolant down and it drops my temperature down. So we're in good shape. Well guys, I think that helped quite a bit. It's a mid 70-degree day. I went down the highway, about 3 or 4 exits, cruising 70 miles an hour. And normally, pretty quickly, I would see 190 plus. I even got on the trans brake before I went on the highway, just to try to heat stuff up a little bit quicker. And it was sitting at like 180, 185, and it really wasn't climbing. And my coolant was also not climbing. That was staying nice and consistent. So I think that definitely helped. It's getting good ram air. The big front fan definitely helps pull some air past it. And I think I can cruise this car no problem with no trans overheat issues, which again, I wasn't really overheating the fluid. You know, 230, 240, 250 is really like starting to overheat the fluid. But I really wanted to keep it to that 170 to 190 mark. I really didn't want to try to step into the 200s. And I feel like this did do it. So I'm pretty happy. Check for leaks, no leaks. Fuel pump's working really good. As you guys know, I just rebuilt it in that last video. That's working good. Fuel pressure is solid. And my new EGT Type K probe now is in the trans, and I'm getting much quicker and much more accurate readings. I can literally see like when it drops 5 degrees, like super quick. I came back, I turned all the fans on, wanted to see how quickly it would cool down, and it cooled down within 10 minutes. It was already in the 140s, so really, really nice. I'm pretty happy with the setup now. Yeah, and that's what it's all about, guys, just trying to do stuff trying to figure stuff out and seeing what works. So, but pretty short video. Oh, also, I went ahead and bore scoped my number one cylinder again to see if I'm getting any more cylinder wear, and I am getting no more cylinder wear. There's a little bit of wear to where it was really bad before, and it's kind of wore through, but it hasn't changed. And I actually did that on like day one or day two, breaking in the rings. So I just don't know if maybe it just needs really a good machine hone, but it's not wearing any more further than that. So I think the injector placement was the big culprit and wetting my walls way too much and getting in there. Again, I now have the blockers put in. I got rid of the squirters. I ended up breaking a squirter off. So blockers are back in, and I think the injector placement is what really was doing the problems to the wall. So I think we're in good shape there. I'm pretty happy. Car's running good, and we got some few little races here coming up soon. And then it's gonna start getting really hot. We're probably gonna be getting out in the boat a lot more, but I'll continue to try to get some content for you guys, talking about different things, talking about tech tips. Again, you guys let me know what you want to hear. But that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate it. Comment, like, subscribe, like, if you're watching. I'll get you guys on the next video. Later.